Okay guys, just thought I'd give you another little update on how this is progressing along. This is, I guess, day 2 of this new build with this Case Labs TH10. I put the motherboard in today. I'm dry fitting everything, I should say, so this isn't necessarily exactly how it's going to look in the end. I'm doing this for a very specific purpose. I want to make sure that I get everything fit properly and looking the way I like. I prefer to do this now rather than put it all together and then look at it over time and just feel like, wow, I should have done this, maybe I should have done that. Probably still do that anyway, but I at least like to give this a shot. It kind of makes it fun in the first place. So that's the motherboard in there. Look how small that is inside that case. I almost feel like I can fit two of them side by side. Yeah, that is the Asus Maximus 4 Extreme Z68 version with the water block on it. You can see that installed there. I've decided I put in my my one GTX 590 that I have that's waiting for the other one to come out of my other rig, my X-Fi sound card, and that's a Revo drive as well. Really like this board, and I actually wanted to ask a question if anybody knows the answer to it. You see that little Molex in the back there? As I've been reading and doing my research, that Molex, there's one there, and then there's one right there above the Revo drive, right below the USB 3. And it's supposed to supply extra power to your graphics cards so you don't burn out that 24 pin. I'm just wondering how much it's actually going to provide. I mean, it's a Molex connector. When I did my trial version or trial run with my two GTX 590s to make sure everything worked, I actually got up to pulling over 1100 watts from the wall, and that's without a lot of things hooked up. So these things are going to pull a lot of power. And I'm hoping that those Molex connectors, or at least the one I've got connected there, adds a little bit of a benefit. I'm just really not sure how much it's going to really give. But in any event, that's the motherboard installed, using some sleeved cables basically. They're black, just that. This is the CPU one. Love that the case has a lot of these cutouts to put the cables through for your management and whatnot. Really nice feature. I also installed today well, dry fitted installed, I should say, the dual serial series MCP 655s. And as I mentioned in the last video, I took the stickers off the bottom, which I think look much nicer. That reservoir, I'm actually deciding I am going to use it. I wasn't before because it was kind of tall and I wasn't sure I could make it fit. And then I took a step back and looked at it and thought, these little fan controllers here, if you look inside, they're not that deep. They only come out to about here. So my concern previously was I wasn't able to get them up behind this 480. But I think what I'm just going to do is I'm going to cut these right about there and move those up to the two top slots versus these two slots. And then we should have enough room, plenty of room for that. I think it's a 250 mil reservoir. I kind of like the look of it anyway. So far, from a water cooling perspective, as I'm dry fitting this to get to see how the loops are going to turn out, it doesn't look too bad. Looks like I'll be able to do what I'm thinking. I put a couple of fittings on there. I'm going to go with the nickel compression fittings. I know a lot of guys are using the black ones nowadays. I've got all these nickel ones, and they're in really good shape, and I don't mind using them at all. I actually kind of like them in the white case versus the black. The tubing I'm going to be using for the water loop is black, so I thought that would be okay to go with that. So anyways, that's kind of what's happening on that side of the case. And if we move around to this side, I think the last video it actually had the front plate on it, so you didn't see what was underneath. But Case Labs really did a good job with the mounting and how you sort of connect everything to the case, and then covering up all the screws and whatnot. You can see all those black dots. Those are all thumb screws. See if I can get one of them anyway. No, it's not going to do it for me. Anyway, they're thumb screws, which are great. Makes it very easy to move things in and out. And the other thing I really like about what they've done is, I doubt I'll be able to show you because you really can't see it, I guess. But these brackets that connect to the case have rubber washers on them. So in between the metal, there's a piece of rubber that the thumb screw just goes straight through both of them. And then, you know, it's there for noise, vibration, and whatnot, which is a really good idea. So Basically on the other side here, what we're working on today, or I was working on today, is I put in my my 400 watt Seasonic X power supply. This is a fanless design, so it relies on really passive cooling. Now, my strategy for this, and I got a few comments on this, so that's why I'm going to talk about it for a minute. This Seasonic X power supply is only a 400 watt power supply. The strategy here is that this power supply is going to run the entire water cooling loop and all the fans. When I'm done, I estimate that I'll have about 34 fans running, plus those two MCP 655 pumps, which in my mind gets me up to about 225 to 250 watts. And given this is a passively cooled power supply, I really didn't want to push it too far. Anyways, it's all modular as well, which is really nice, so I don't have any cords hanging out there to contend with, even though this is sort of the back side of the case. Sits really nicely on those PSU mounting brackets, though. I'm really happy with that. And you know, the other thing I like about these power, or any power supply, is these on-off switches. I think these are great. I don't really, I'm not particularly a fan of power supplies that don't come with that switch on the back. But that's all, again, it's a personal choice. Like I said, I like it. The other power supply that's going in here, because somebody was asking me about it, it's an Enermax Evo Galaxy 1250 watt power supply. And that's going to power basically everything except the water cooling system. And I think that should pretty well do it for the two GTX 590s. Everything's going to be OC'd, at least on a periodic basis. So there is going to be some extra power draw there, but I think the 1250 watts should do me just fine. You know, it is an Enermax. It's a quality power supply. I've had it for years. I used it with my two 5970s I had in my previous build, and really like it. No complaints whatsoever. So that's going to go right below the Seasonic right there. And then the other thing I did today is I started to install my storage and my SSDs. So the top one there, if that will come into focus, is the Patriot Wildfire 120 gig. That's going to run the operating system and the main programs. That empty slot below is going to be the two Intel 510 SSDs. Below that I've got two other 100 gig OCZ Vertex limited edition SSDs. And at the very bottom I've got a 2 terabyte mass storage drive. It's not the greatest storage drive in the world, I'll say that, but I'm not really interested in it for anything other than storage. I don't use it for any other purposes. So anyways, that's where things are at today. Thought I'd give you that little update, and got a lot of requests for me to keep videoing things, so I don't mind doing it. If you guys want to watch it, I'll keep you up to date on what I'm doing and what I'm up to. But yeah, so anyways, that's about it for today, guys. Enjoy, comment, subscribe, rate the video, let me know what your thoughts are. Always happy to hear constructive criticisms as well. Not about to be all you know, uppity about somebody making a comment that they don't like something, because you know, we all have our own preferences, but constructive criticism is always welcome. Anyways, that's it for me. Have a good one, fellas. Talk to you later.